Welcome to the NFT Podcast, Kyle. I'm very glad to see you. And where are you and how are you?
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, so I'm in San Francisco, California, hanging out. This is my dining room, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's I'm doing good. It's 9 a.m., chilling, and everything's good, man.
cool, man. You were telling me before that you moved in San Francisco some years ago, and it seems like in 2017. Tell me why.
So, so I'm just like an art guy, and at the time I was living in LA, running my company and my studio out of there, um, and the 2017 crypto bull run was happening. I was like pretty deep, like very addicted, loving every second of it, from an investment side and basically wanted to be closer to Silicon Valley, closer to the action. So part of the reason I moved back up here was so I could be closer to blockchain companies, meet up with some like internet friends I'd made through Telegram and stuff, just to like grab beers and shoot the shit.
Wow, wow, that was a smart move. Really a smart move.
Maybe.
We will see.
Yeah.
So, man, like, and what's your story? What's your work story? What do you do? And what have you done like before what you're doing now in the NFT space? But we are going to talk it later.
Yeah, of course. So I've been designing visual experiences for probably the last 10 years. Formally trained as a fine artist in painting, sculpting, and art history. Um, and basically, I really loved music. Music's something I'm super passionate about, but I'm not a audio artist. I'm a visual artist. So basically, I started a blog out of college, started networking with managers, and slowly built up a client base, building out visual productions for concerts, music festivals, like events. And yeah, over time, like kind of built out a few different companies doing these sort of things, working for clients like Bassnectar, Deadmau5, Kanye West at some point.
Really, man,
I've
Kenny.
been to
I
most of the big.
you say
What was that?
Kenny, man. Kenny, you touch my heart, man. You touch my heart with
Yeah,
Ken.
yeah. No, I wish I could talk about it more, but unfortunately I can't. Um, but yeah, man. So I've been to almost all the U.S. based music festivals doing visuals. I also VJ, so I'll run the productions. Um, And yeah, I mean, everything was going great up until the pandemic hit about a year ago. And I was booked out for, I think, a year and a half at that point, which was something crazy to me as a freelancer in like an independent studio. That was nuts. And then basically everything got canceled. All my income was gone for the next year and a half. So I started producing virtual experiences with some friends, which started as just throwing like Zoom parties, and eventually that led into us starting a company where we started doing immersive web design and kind of cool like online music festival experiences. And somehow in all of that, I got looped into a tech company who wanted me to advise them on implementing an art division into their company that basically worked with spatial data and kind of doing like in-world digital kind of bridges between the physical and the digital art worlds. And that's when I discovered NFTs about a year ago. Looking at super rare, looking at rareable, like kind of seeing what was going on, and reading a lot about them and learning a lot about them. But the crypto boom really didn't start picking up until like a few months later. Because at the time, something selling for like 4 Ethereum was like $400. So it wasn't something to, quit my day job over. And so, yeah, a couple of months later, everything started rising. The income potential and the ability to support myself from crypto art became much more realistic. And that's when I kind of jumped in, basically at the end of August with like my first NFTs, working with a bunch of different platforms, applying to all of them. And yeah, man, it's been a roller coaster since then. I had a collaboration in March with Beeple and G-Monk, Rafik Anadol, Red Singer Andres, Fuck Render, Mika Marple, and Sarah Ludi. We raised $6.5 million for the Open Earth Foundation through a Nifty Gateway fundraiser. And yeah, man, since then it's just kind of been really, really gnarly. I've been advising a couple different projects. Currently, I'm a co-founder for a company, an NFT platform coming out early summer I've just been grinding on for the last few months. So hopefully I can get back to actually making art soon. But right now it's just kind of been building out tools for other artists to participate mindfully and like consciously in this space because there's, a lot to there's a lot of stuff that isn't quite there yet from a tech perspective. And so I want to make sure people are participating in a safe manner while doing this stuff.
That's huge, man. It has been really a rush, and you were involved in a lot of projects. And this is so you are basically now like a visual designer in the metaverse, but also you're not just an artist anymore. Like you're switching your career in like advising, in like
Mhm.
being working with others and working for others. And like do you prefer one or the other one, or like do you think that like you are balancing in the fact that okay, I gain expertise
Yeah.
from something like I built my heart, I do it by my own, and then like but I also like advise like other companies in doing what I do.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like a perfect marriage of all the things I want to do. Like I love the blockchain space so much. It's like really cool and awesome, and I'm all about like financial independence and decentralization. So all that's so interesting, and kind of marrying that to my other love, which is like artwork, um, is just crazy, specifically digital artwork. Um, so I mean, I don't personally for me, it couldn't get any better. I basically get to like make art, make money, like work in blockchain. Like I'm starting a startup, which is like so cool and something I'd always wanted to do and never thought possible as like a normal studio. So I mean, it's pretty cool, and I still get to like dabble and invest in NFTs, like learn about the space. There isn't a day I consider it really work. I'm just like really passionate about the things I'm doing, and it's just fun, like every day.
Cool, super cool. And like maybe for imagine that we have now got in the audience like someone that wants to be a visual designer in the metaverse. Would you like to speak maybe an example, maybe from your biggest project that you are most proud of in the last months, and like tell us more like what are the opportunities and what did you do in the specific like from like whole the process.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're just getting into the space, whether you're an artist or not an artist, there's kind of room for everyone. It's all about how you kind of navigate the space. And I definitely wouldn't downplay the community aspect. I think a lot of people come into this space and they think it's all about the art, and it's not, unfortunately. Like half of it is art, half of it is engaging with people, learning, forming relationships, like cultivating community, and like really creating lasting connections with the people you're connecting with. So joining, the social token communities, joining Discords, Telegrams, like talking to people, engaging with them on Twitter is so important because and even on Clubhouse, it's just really important because people, what we're realizing, are more inclined to support you if they have a connection with you. And so there's plenty of people doing extremely well with their art, whatever it is, whatever aesthetic, just because they have people who believe in them and want to support them. So when you're coming into the space, half of it needs to be focused on visual art, half of it needs to be focused on like connection and human connection because it's so important. And if you're trying to make the artwork and don't know how to make the artwork or just want to experiment, highly recommend looking into softwares like Blender, Adobe After Effects, Cinema 4D. They all do different things. Some of them are 3D, some of them are 2D. Um, I believe they all have free trial versions that you can experiment with. Blender is always free, so anyone who's on a budget trying to get in, Blender is awesome and has really excelled the last like couple of years. Um, and yeah, and just
Yeah.
experiment. You're not going to get on all the big platforms to start. Even huge, huge famous artists aren't getting on the big platforms. So you just need to be patient. You need to start somewhere, like get a store going on OpenSea, like set something up on Rarible, and just like, and don't charge too much.
Yeah,
Start somewhere, start getting collectors, start creating followers, build a brand about what you're doing, and like get people amped about it and excited. I think what a lot of people miss out on is they're just coming into the space and just trying to mint as much as they want and like get as much money as possible, but really you're missing out on the long-term potential of having a steady income stream from people who support your work.
absolutely, absolutely. And like, is there any particular project in the NFT space that you take as an inspiration, and do you think that like for people that are listening to us, they can look for it and take it from inspiration because you see, okay, that's made very well from hand to end.
Yeah, I mean,
Of
there's
course.
a yeah, no.
Also your platform, but
No, yeah, I mean, if there's one person who I think's doing a really interesting job right now, I gotta give this guy credit. It's Fuck Render. His name's Fred. He is uh,
we are going to link
obviously
in the description.
yeah, he's an incredible artist, and he's been very well known for years prior to participating in the NFT space. So he's probably had a bit of a leg up because he's insanely talented. But a perfect example of creating utility and an experience for your collectors, which is what this space is really going to become. It's going to be less about some visual eye candy and more about what can you give your audience and your collectors as an experience. And so he has kind of combined his NFTs into this project called the Fuck Renderverse, where basically he has this virtual video game kind of world he's built with all of his artwork kind of immortalized in this universe. And as his collectors buy his pieces, he actually engraves their names next to the piece on like placards. And it's turned into this immersive kind of virtual world that you can just run around in. He has like contests in there where if you find certain like Easter eggs, you get a piece. He's so good at engaging with his community, and I think if anyone's trying to look at a great example of stuff that people are doing, he's doing some really awesome things.
Oh man.
There's so many other artists to mention too, but if I had to name one who I just think is doing some really different stuff, it's probably him right now.
Amazing, amazing. And like, okay, so you we talked about artists, and let's talk about project and companies. And here I want to introduce also your startup in the sense that, okay, there are huge projects in the NFT space, and it seems like that you like a lot of them, but there is not something in particular that you like. Otherwise you won't creating your startup. So why you are creating your startup, your NFT platform, and what's in there more that we already see here in the NFT space.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, part of the reason I shifted from artist to like platform builder was because the further and further I got in the space, the more I realized, like, I started asking questions like, well, wait, what's going to happen in 2 years? Like, what happens to my artwork if a platform goes out of business? Like, how are the files stored? Like, how do I connect with people who have no crypto experience? How do royalties stay intact if I'm moving it from one platform to another? Um, there was just a lot of different questions, not to mention the ecological impact. Obviously, I learned a lot about that from working with the Open Earth Foundation. So there's just a lot of these kind of elephants in the room, and no one's talking about them too much.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure whether that's because people have a vested interest financially to not talk about them because they hold all these very valuable NFTs, or whether it's just because not enough people know. I think everyone's starting to understand and kind of get a better picture of the landscape. And the platforms that are out right now are excellent and great. And they're obviously the first ones who have built out this space to what it is today. But from a long-term perspective, I would say I started proceeding cautiously with how I'm minting my NFTs because really the platform that you mint on is actually your canvas for your work. And if you're going to go into this experience and create, artwork on these surfaces, so to speak, you want to make sure the surface is like solid and good and like made of good materials. And so a lot of them um, just fell a little bit short of what I would want to give my collectors and ensure that what I'm selling them is going to be around for a long time, and like they can purchase it knowing I'm not like indirectly and negatively impacting the planet. So that kind of led me to build out some tools. I connected with a few people and was brought into this amazing community and project building out a platform that's basically aiming to open this space up to the masses. We'll be accepting multiple currencies. We'll be built on Polygon, which will be interoperable amongst many different blockchains at some point. So you can move your NFTs between different blockchain ecosystems. It also enables us to have much lower fees, in some cases free NFT minting and transacting. And on top of that, it's proof of stake. So its energy efficiency is improved by 99%, up to 99% over proof of work blockchains like Ethereum and Bitcoin. And obviously, you know, Ethereum's migrating to proof of stake. There's other blockchain ecosystems that are already proof of stake. But I think from a utility standpoint, you know, you mentioned like what kind of experience can people unlock from NFTs? Ethereum is just the one with the most developers, the most projects. It has all the metaverse projects. When you're thinking about what you can give to your collectors as an experience, there's so many tools already built out there where other ecosystems just aren't anywhere close, to be completely honest, to being where Ethereum's kind of at.
Yeah. Okay, super cool. I've got a
Yeah.
pair of questions, like starting from your platform. First of all, it really engaged me the fact that you talked about like sustainability, and you also talk about Open Earth Foundation. And second
Mhm.
one, I would like to know more about why Polygon. So let's just start with the one that you prefer. Why if in some way like you are related to Open Earth, or in general, like what is Open Earth Foundation, if we can tell me
Yeah.
more about this, and why Open Earth Foundation is it working in this NFT space. And yes, yeah, let's start with this.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Open Earth Foundation is this amazing company run by this guy named Martin Weinstein, and he is obviously a climate advocate and an incredible human. And what's really cool about the stuff they're doing is they're combating climate change by trying to build out infrastructure that holds companies accountable for their carbon emissions. I think a lot of the issues right now are that we know things are bad for the environment, but we don't know how bad, and we can't quantify it down to a very specific point. It's a lot of guessing. You know, we obviously know which industries are extremely detrimental, but how can you hold a company accountable and, you know, tax them, fine them, reward them even for, you know, their either positive or negative climate impact? And so what the Open Earth Foundation is trying to do is build out accountability solutions using, I think, I'm pretty sure blockchain and artificial intelligence technologies to basically kind of build out this system that holds companies accountable for their carbon emissions. And so they can either be taxed, they can either be fined, or they can also be rewarded. And working with government agencies to kind of implement this kind of infrastructure, which I think is a really innovative and different approach to combating climate change. So, you know, just because of it's like tech centric, just because of all that stuff, I think it fits really well into the blockchain universe. Um, and you know, I've known of them for a while because I have colleagues who collaborate with them frequently on projects. Everyone working there is like really smart and really passionate about the work they're doing. And so it just seemed like a good fit. I think they actually got partnered up with Jihan Chu of Kinetic Capital. He's a brilliant art collector, has a history in like the fine art world, now turned like crypto investor, blockchain investor, art investor, and patron. And he basically teamed up with them to kind of put together the carbon drop. And started, you know, they reached out to me to kind of see if we could rope in some other artists. And basically, we put together this lineup of creators to kind of raise money for the Open Earth Foundation. and it was pretty staggering, the result. Obviously, Beeple sold his piece for a lot, and that was it helped a lot. But fundraising in the art world is insanely difficult, and at best, a lot of times, maybe people will raise a million, a few $1 million from a highly successful fundraiser. And so the fact that we raised like $6.5 million is crazy. And so just that in of itself unlocks so much potential and really shines the light on like how this space and the liquidity of this space, the generosity and the community aspect of this space can actually not only help creators to help keep them creating, but also help social causes that people care about. And that's something we're continuing to work with the Open Earth Foundation on with our platform Doingud, as well as other companies and organizations and social impact causes that have various fights and things that they're working towards, and streaming money from artists to those causes so that artists don't have to manually deal with them themselves and can kind of wear this badge of honor using our platform that kind of shows that they take action, that they care, and these are the causes that they care about.
So powerful. And do you, because like you mentioned, so like R2, her foundation is, of course, like a foundation, an organization, and like, do you know and did you spot other interesting projects between like the NFT world and others, foundation, organization, or institutions? Or if you didn't already spot them, then is there something that you are envisioning for like this year or next year that will be great and will be impactful for the all the values in the NFT space?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I think there's going to be, just in the next few months, there's going to be a crazy amount of innovation in this space. Um, Everyone is building platforms, everyone is developing technology, every management company, record label, like publishing company, everyone you can imagine working with talent, creators, etc., or in like the music spaces, are are on calls all day trying to figure out how to integrate this technology into their ecosystem. A lot of them want white label solutions so that they can just kind of slap their name on it and just kind of, continue doing what they're doing, where they take percentages from artists, etc. Others are trying to ingrain themselves into ecosystems and work within the community. Um, and some of them are organizations trying to tap into this liquidity and kind of, fundraise using creators. All of them are coming in. I would say within the next year, most of these groups will already have NFTs. You're already going to start seeing NFTs distributed at concerts, doing activities online. I think as the space grows, it'll only open up a lot more. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's an incredible amount of companies that we're going to be working with, bringing them into the space in a lot of cases. I can't talk about them yet. You'll just have to wait for our partnership announcement coming out pretty soon. But I think at least from what we're trying to do is we're trying to put an emphasis on the community part, which is really important, but actually empowering community to take action is the second part. It's one thing to, be passionate about something and talk about how passionate you are, but I think what we're trying to do on our platform is make it really simple, and actually affordable. There's actually no expense to the creator on our platform for this. It's kind of like Amazon Smile, where you just buy stuff and a percentage from like what we would normally take for our fees goes to a cause that you care about. And so I think streamlining that process and making it easy for artists to take action and earn an income, I think is really powerful. And I hope other companies also employ stuff like this as well going forward.
It is, bro. It is. It's a really good mission behind all what you're doing. And let's switch for a second on a tech side because I'm here for learning, like for everyone. I
Mhm.
don't really know about, I don't really know a lot about Polygon. That I know
Mhm.
that their cryptocurrency is called Matic. If I don't, if
Yeah,
I, yeah. Tell me
yeah.
more about Polygon. So why, what is Polygon, and why you choose Polygon?
That's a great question. So I actually wasn't the one who chose it. They're actually partnered, and know some of the people working on our platform. Um, I'm not the tech person, unfortunately. I can't tell you exactly why they went with Polygon. I know right now Polygon's making huge strides in the space. They're integrating with like Decentraland, a bunch of the like micro economies within Decentraland. Opensea is integrating them. And there are other competitors like Immutable X and other layer 2 scaling solutions for Ethereum. Um, I don't know from a technical standpoint why they're better, or I can't properly speak on it. I just know that the things that they do promise, like long term, having the flexibility to choose different blockchain ecosystems, having the ability to have faster transaction speeds, lower fees, like lower barrier of entry, as well as being proof of stake and having a lower carbon footprint is huge, especially as everyone's waiting for Ethereum to scale to proof of stake. Um, Personally, I don't think that's like a long-term solution for Ethereum. Every few years, you kind of have chain congestion and things, and it's an ever-evolving beast. It's not like, they implement these changes and everything's fixed forever. Obviously, the more people that use it, the more problems will arise, the more things they'll have to adapt and change. And so I think by using a layer two solution, you have the flexibility to kind of have these predetermined features from the get-go and not rely on Ethereum too much. Whereas if anything were to ever happen, we have the flexibility to choose either migrating to Ethereum or still interacting with the Ethereum ecosystem since they're so tightly interwoven.
Cool, cool. Okay, yeah. So you say you're not super expertise on the tech side of Polygon, but maybe you probably like work with some components of the team. I don't know if they are based in San Francisco. They're no, they are, don't know where are they based.
I don't think so,
Ah,
no.
okay, okay, okay. So just from people perspective, like you find well in working with Polygon. You say that they're a great team, and you find well in building your applications on their blockchain. You say.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're doing a lot of really good things right now. So I'm excited to see, how they keep improving
Cool.
and definitely continuing the collaboration with them.
Cool. You know where are they born? You know where they started to build Polygon? I don't know. No.
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
It's possible somewhere in Europe,
Okay.
maybe.
No, no,
I
not
actually have no
not
idea. I'm
not
just
where.
spitballing.
Like when? How many years ago? Like when they started to
Oh
build?
man, I want to say maybe they're almost a year, maybe a little bit more
Okay.
than a year old. They were previously known as Matic,
Okay.
and they were just going to be an Ethereum scaling solution. And then I think they changed into Polygon, and their whole goal wasn't just to be for Ethereum, but actually to act as a bridge between multiple blockchains and be interoperable.
Cool. Okay.
So, like other chains like Polkadot, maybe Flow at some point.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to be this kind of connector between as many chains as possible, so that you can move your NFTs or the things you're holding on your Polygon in the Polygon ecosystem to your chain of choice.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. Okay. Thank you, man. So, like, man, I'm Francesco. I want to work with your platform. I want to work in your startup. Which skills do I need to have? Like this year or like next year? What is needed to work in an NFT platform today? Of course, you need to have like a lot of passion on this world. You need to have a lot of energy and like stay up all night. But except from that, like what else do you need?
Yeah, I think there's a mix, and there's obviously different ways to approach this stuff. In a lot of cases, work for these kinds.
You you mu- I you muted maybe.
Sorry, give me 1 second. My phone just cut out.
Ah, okay, no problem. No problem.
So in some cases, you probably need a lot of experience and to be very good at what you're doing. And that's kind of it. Especially working remote and stuff, there's probably a disconnect. You kind of work with your team. I don't know. I'm not sure how company cultures are elsewhere. I can tell you for our company, it's a mix. You definitely need to have be very good at what you do and stick out from the crowd. But the other thing is you need to be very passionate and big on community and big on human connection. And so some of the interesting things that our founders do is when they're screening people to join, they look for that connection. When they're talking, they're very social. Like, even when we have investors and potential like partners coming in, they want to know their story. They want to talk. They want to have this connection with them, as opposed to someone just coming in and being, like, cool, like,
Yeah.
what are you guys, how much money do you want to pay me? And you looked up my LinkedIn, correct? So before anything, even investors, we actually will turn away investors who we don't have a connection with. It's not about the money. We have plenty of people who are willing to support us up and above and beyond the amount that we raised. It's about finding partnerships and connections and like building a strong team and a foundation. And so anyone who's trying to join the team, one needs to have a connection with us and be about cultivating like a happy and cool and relaxed work environment with us, but also has to be passionate and really good at what they do.
Cool.
And bring something to the table. We're definitely not just trying to fill roles. We want people who want to fight for what they care about and want to get in this and believe in this long term.
Which are like the funds or the companies that you see like there in Silicon Valley that are investing the most in the NFT space now in 2021?
Oh man, I would say one of the big ones is Andreessen Horowitz.
Yeah.
Um, they're investing in everything right now.
Yeah.
I would say they're huge. Obviously, Kinetic Capital, Jihan, has been investing a lot and innovating a lot in this space. Um, there's a lot, man. It's definitely a good time to be fundraising, especially in this space. Everyone wants a piece. I know Sound Ventures is, I believe it's Mark Cuban and Ashton Kutcher's fund. They've been investing in a ton of NFT projects as well. And I think as time goes on, you're probably going to start seeing a lot of the big agencies and talent houses partnering up with and investing in a lot of these platforms as well.
Okay. Okay. I've got some names. Like, yeah, say A16s, Connected Capital, and others. You say they are all based there. I think probably in Silicon Valley. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Um, let's stop talking like about business. Talk about art.
Yeah.
You've got NFTs.
I do have NFTs. I collect some NFTs. I'm a light collector. I'm very cautious with the NFTs I collect. I hope pretty soon I'll be able to collect more from people I want to support. It's more of a support thing for me. Um, and I do make NFTs, just not right now. I think I only have a few NFTs available on the market still, that I just haven't really been promoting. They're kind of just around on different platforms, and everything else is sold out.
Cool. So as a collector, you say I want to buy NFTs of people I know. It's like your
Yeah,
friends or like people that you have networking in the space, and you say, okay, I believe in you. We can be like more than friends in sense that I can invest like in what you do.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, half of it's the artwork, half of it is how are we connected? Do I want to support you? And I think it just comes down to what I mentioned earlier about creating connection with the people you're like on this journey with in this space, through various communities. Like there's people who I look at their artwork and want to buy it just because I think they're awesome and they're a cool person and I see them giving and working and hustling.
Yeah, I agree. And okay, man, and cause like you are a collectionist, so you invest in NFTs, but you also build platform for NFTs. I've got a special question for you. Do you
Hmm.
see NFTs more as an asset or more as a tool?
Oh man. Well, I think they're both. I think the cool thing is right now everyone's just kind of scraping the surface with what NFTs can do, which is their art thing, their art. It's like something that's visual. The next step of that is like how you can kind of embed them into these metaverse worlds. You can build out your galleries and this kind of stuff. Maybe even display them in like a smart TV frame or like these smart frames that connect to your blockchain wallet. That's like kind of where we've been up until this point. And I think the next phase that we're going to start seeing is how do NFTs unlock experiences, and how do they serve as tickets or keys almost to like not only virtual experiences but physical things too. You're for sure going to start seeing people issuing NFTs with concert tickets. It's already happening. You're probably going to see NFTs woven into merch. And pretty soon, you'll probably even start seeing like creators spinning up micro economies and virtual experiences around everything from ticketing to merch, all these fun things using NFTs kind of as these tickets or tools. You know, I think beyond just NFTs being like pieces of art, I think people don't realize that you can actually use them as gatekeepers, whether it's to Discord channels, private content, exclusive content, like Patreon and subscription models. Like you don't need a paywall; you could have an NFT as your paywall. So I think people are going to start doing really cool stuff. I'm really excited to start seeing people doing stuff in the physical world with NFTs, and not just displaying them, but actually like doing giveaways, like things based on geolocation, kind of gamifying this like virtual experience and turning it into something that's a physical world experience. And that's coming. It's going to be here sooner than people think.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Totally agree. Okay, so last question, man, like for you, and it's not like a question, it's like more a personal view. What's your call
Yeah.
to action for this NFTs world, for this crazy NFT world? What's your like call to action? I don't know, for artists, you can decide.
Oh man, if I had to say one right now, the call to action is two. It's two things. One, this space is here to stay, whether you like it, don't agree with it, whether it's blockchain, not blockchain. The NFT as a concept is here to stay, and it's going to become a part of our digital everything moving forward. Maybe as soon as even a couple months from now, you're going to start seeing it. You're already seeing it with projects like MeBits and like virtual identities and all this cool stuff. The second part is really learn about the technology. I know artists don't want to deep dive into like how their platforms work, how the art is stored, like what sort of like foundations they're built upon. Um, this is your canvas. Like your platform is your canvas. Please, please, please research how these platforms are storing your artwork, what happens if they go out of business, what are the fees, what sort of barriers of entry are you creating for your collectors who might not be crypto savvy. Um, at the end of the day, all of this is about brand integrity. It's not about making a quick buck and like, trying to see how much money you can make off of people with crypto or your fans. This is an extension of your brand. And so you need to do so like you would anything else with your brand. You need to do it with integrity and intentionality. And so definitely find platforms, find existing solutions, or future solutions that kind of align with your values and what you care about, and provide tools that allow you to give your collectors the most value possible and the most experiences possible.
Yeah, man. For example, like recently I started reading the Ethereum white paper, and I think it's very important that anyone in this space, also if you don't chase it, if you don't choose Ethereum, but it's important that you start like reading the Ethereum white paper or others. So are there like specific an advice, for example, for artists, for anyone, like where can I know more about the tech side, of course, other than this podcast?
Honestly, I have I can't speak on too many resources. I just have so many newsletters, so many
Okay.
people on Twitter I'm following who I trust. I unfortunately can't give you straight shout outs, but I will give a shout out to the Defiant.
Okay.
The Defiant is great. I find myself watching their videos pretty frequently.
You,
Definitely have had a
you say
few
on the
Twitter.
YouTube channel, right? The Defiant to the
Yeah, the YouTube
Yeah,
channel
yeah,
or
he's
their
amazing.
articles as well. They not only is it amazing, like I feel like all the videos are so well done, the
Yeah,
production's incredible, and as a visual person, I'm like, this is sick.
yeah,
But on top of that, the content is great, and especially if you don't want to deep dive into white papers and all this stuff, there are people asking the same questions and doing the research and commenting on it, and I think, the Defiant's doing a really excellent job. So if you're concerned about this, just, look up the Defiant, look up
yeah.
their stuff about NFTs. How are the NFTs stored? How are they affecting the environment? They've got some good stuff in there, so it's worth checking out. And I think they're they don't take sides really. They just present a neutral approach and kind of just say, here is the facts and take it for what you will.
Yeah, definitely. Check DeFi and then subscribe to his channel. He is an amazing guy. He also made like the biggest film ever made on NFT, so it's very, very,
Yeah.
very
Oh, it's
informative.
so good. It's
That
so
was
good.
so, and he made it like at the beginning. I don't know like how fast he created this. So
Yeah.
thank you, Kyle, for coming here today. You were so inspirational, and I can't wait to come in San Francisco too one day. So I really appreciate it,
Absolutely,
man.
man. Yeah, and thank you for having me. It was really great, and yeah, I can't wait to show everyone the Doing Good platform launching in a few weeks.
Amazing, man.